dusty road I'm driving through with a heart that's missing.
Chapter 32 The State of Men After Death, and the Resurrection of the Dead. 1. After death, the bodies of men decay and return to dust, but their souls, which neither die nor sleep, having an immortal existence, return immediately to God, who gave them. The souls of the righteous are then made perfect in holiness and received into the highest heavens, where they behold the face of God in light and glory as they wait for the full redemption of their bodies. The souls of the wicked are cast into hell, where they remain in torments and utter darkness as they are kept for the judgment of the great day. Scripture recognizes no other place except these two for the souls which have been separated from their bodies.
Genesis, chapter 3, verse 19. By the sweat of your face you will eat bread, till you return to the ground, because from it you were taken. For you are dust, and to dust you shall return.
Acts, chapter 13, verse 36. For David, after he had served the purpose of God in his own generation, fell asleep and was laid among his fathers and saw corruption.
Luke, chapter 23, verse 43. And he said to him, Truly I say to you, today you shall be with me in paradise.
Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, verse 7. Then the dust will return to the earth as it was, and the spirit will return to God who gave it. Hebrews, chapter 12, verse 23. To the festal gathering and assembly of the firstborn who are enrolled in heaven, and to God, the judge of all, and to the spirits of the righteous made perfect.
2 Corinthians 5. The temporal and eternal. For we know that if the earthly tent which is our house is torn down, we have a building from God, a house not made with hands, eternal in the heavens. 2 Corinthians, chapter 5, verse 6. Therefore, being always of good courage, and knowing that while we are at home in the body we are absent from the Lord. 2 Corinthians, chapter 5, verse 8. We are of good courage and prefer rather to be absent from the body and to be at home with the Lord.
Philippians, chapter 1, verse 23. But I am hard-pressed between the two, having the desire to depart and be with Christ, for that is very much better.
Acts, chapter 3, verse 21. Whom heaven must receive until the period of restoration of all things about which God spoke by the mouth of his holy prophets from ancient time.
Ephesians, chapter 4, verse 10. He who descended is himself also he who ascended far above all the heavens, so that he might fill all things.
Romans, chapter 8, verse 23. And not only this, but also we ourselves, having the first fruits of the Spirit, even we ourselves groan within ourselves, eagerly waiting for our adoption as sons, the redemption of our body. Luke, chapter 16, verse 23 to 24. And in Hades he lifted up his eyes, being in torment, and saw Abraham far away and Lazarus in his bosom. And he cried out and said, Father Abraham, have mercy on me, and send Lazarus so that he may dip the tip of his finger in water and cool off my tongue, for I am in agony in this flame.
Acts, chapter 1, verse 25. To take the place of this ministry and apostleship from which Judas turned aside to go to his own place. Jude, chapter 1, verse 6 to 7. And angels who did not keep their own domain, but abandoned their proper abode, he has kept in eternal bonds under darkness for the judgment of the great day. Just as Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities around them, having indulged in the same way as these in gross sexual immorality and having gone after strange flesh, are exhibited as an example in undergoing the punishment of eternal fire.
1 Peter, chapter 3, verse 19. In which also he went and made proclamation to the spirits now in prison.
2. At the last day those who are alive shall not die but shall be changed. All the dead shall be raised up with their selfsame bodies, and no other, although with different qualities, which shall be united again with their souls forever.
1 Thessalonians, chapter 4, verse 17. Then we who are alive and remain will be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and so we shall always be with the Lord.
1 Corinthians, chapter 15, verse 51 to 52. Behold, I tell you a mystery, we will not all sleep, but we will all be changed. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trumpet. For the trumpet will sound, and the dead will be raised incorruptible, and we will be changed.
John, chapter 5, verse 25 to 29. 2 resurrections. Truly, truly, I say to you, an hour is coming and now is, when the dead will hear the voice of the Son of God, and those who hear will live. For just as the Father has life in himself, even so he gave to the Son also to have life in himself. And he gave him authority to execute judgment, because he is the Son of Man. Do not marvel at this, for an hour is coming, in which all who are in the tombs will hear his voice. And will come forth, those who did the good deeds to a resurrection of life, those who committed the evil deeds to a resurrection of judgment.
Acts, chapter 24, verse 15. Having a hope in God, for which these men are waiting, that there shall certainly be a resurrection of both the righteous and the unrighteous.
Job, chapter 19, verse 26 to 27. Even after my skin is destroyed, yet from my flesh I shall behold God, whom I myself shall behold, and whom my eyes will see and not another. My heart faints within me.
Daniel, chapter 12, verse 2. And many of those who sleep in the dust of the ground will awake, these to everlasting life, but the others to reproach and everlasting contempt.
1 Corinthians, chapter 15, verse 42 to 44. So also is the resurrection of the dead. It is sown a corruptible body, it is raised an incorruptible body. It is sown in dishonor, it is raised in glory, it is sown in weakness, it is raised in power. It is sown a natural body, it is raised a spiritual body. If there is a natural body, there is also a spiritual body.
3. By the power of Christ the bodies of the unjust shall be raised to dishonor. The bodies of the just shall be raised to honor by his Spirit, and brought into conformity with Christ's own glorious body.
Acts, chapter 24, verse 15. Having a hope in God, for which these men are waiting, that there shall certainly be a resurrection of both the righteous and the unrighteous.
John, chapter 5, verse 28 to 29. Do not marvel at this, for an hour is coming, in which all who are in the tombs will hear his voice. And will come forth, those who did the good deeds to a resurrection of life, those who committed the evil deeds to a resurrection of judgment.
1 Corinthians, chapter 15, verse 43. It is sown in dishonor, it is raised in glory, it is sown in weakness, it is raised in power.
Philippians, chapter 3, verse 21. Who will transform the body of our humble state into conformity with the body of his glory, by his working through which he is able to even subject all things to himself.
Long nights with the moon as my guide, around every bend your memory never hides. Through